Welcome back to the last part of conjunctions. Today we will focus on transitional words, or they have another name called adverbial conjunctions. As I told you before, we use transitional words to show the relationship between ideas in paragraph organization. So how transitions work? The organization of your written work includes two elements. The first element, the order in which you have chosen to present the different parts of your discussion or argument. The second element, the relationships you construct between these parts, between these ideas of the paragraph. Transitions can make your organization clearer and easier to follow. When you use transitional words, it's be easy to know that your writing is so clear and it's so easy to follow understanding these ideas. Types of transitions. Transitions between sections, transitions between paragraphs, transitions within paragraphs. Number one, transitions between sections, particularly in longer words. It may be necessary to include transitional paragraphs that summarize for the reader the information just covered. So when we use transitional paragraphs, it summarizes the information that I covered before. Transitions between paragraphs. If you have done a good job of arranging paragraphs and the ideas in paragraphs so that the content of one paragraph leads logically to the next, the transition will highlight a relationship that already exists by summarizing the previous paragraph and suggesting something of the content of the paragraph that follows. A transitional between paragraphs can be a word or more than one word too. For example, however, similarly. So you need to learn each word is used. What is the function of each word? We use them in which way? How can I connect the ideas? What are the relationship between ideas to select the best transitional word? A phrase or a sentence. The transitional word could be a phrase or a sentence as well. Transitions can be at the end of the first paragraph or at the beginning of the second paragraph or in both places. Number three, transitions within paragraphs. As with transitions between sections and paragraphs, transitions within paragraphs act as cues or hints by helping readers to anticipate, to expect what is coming before they read it. So if you read the transitional word at the beginning of the paragraph, you will expect what is coming. I'll give you a different idea, or I'll support the previous idea, or I'll give you examples like that. Transitional expressions or transitional words, keep in mind that each of these words or phrases may have a slightly different meaning. Consult a dictionary or writer's handbook if you are unsure of the exact meaning of a word or phrase. These are the common transitional words and the function, or why we use each one for what. We use each one for what. We can use transitional words or transitional expressions to show similarity, like also, in the same way, just as, so too, likewise, similarly. We can use some transitional words, expressions to show contrast, exceptions, like but, however, in spite of, on the other hand, on the other, on the one hand, nevertheless, nonetheless, notwithstanding, in contrast, on contrary, still, yet. All of these words are used to show contrast. We can use some transitional expressions, some transitional words or conjunctive adverbs to show sequence or order, like first, second, third, next, then, finally. We can use them to show time, especially when I write a text. Should be written in chronological order, like after, afterward, at last, before, currently, during, earlier, immediately, later, meanwhile, now, recently, subsequently, then. We use some transitional expressions to show examples. If I'd like to give examples to support the reader to understand the main idea I focus on, like for example, for instance, namely, specifically, to illustrate, or we can use to confirmation, affirmation, like even, indeed, in fact, of course, truly, to show place or position, especially in a descriptive writing, like above, adjacent, below, beyond, here, in front, in back, nearby, there. And we can use some transitional words to show cause and effect, like accordingly, consequently, hence, so, therefore, thus. To add more information, additional support or evidence, like additionally, again, also, and as well, besides, equally important, furthermore, in addition, moreover, then. And if I'd like to conclude the text, to conclude the idea by using some expressions, transitional expressions to show conclusion or summary, like finally, in a word, in brief, briefly, in conclusion, in the end, in the final analysis, on the whole, thus to conclude, to summarize, in sum, to sum up, in summary. These are the most common transitional words, and we need to focus on each one and why we use each transitional words for each function. We use it for cause and effect, we use it to support ideas, to add more ideas, to show contrast, to give examples, like that. Conjunctive adverbs and transitional words, we use transitional words instead of fanboys if you'd like to improve our writing and to make it more interesting. So try in advanced level in writing, try to avoid using a lot of fanboys and use transitional words instead. Yeah. For example, we can use, instead of and, we can use furthermore, moreover, but, however, on the other hand, so, therefore, and so on. We have a special punctuation for the transitional words. If I'd like to use transitional words, it has a special punctuation. But for act and said, they focus on the meaning instead of the function of each one, instead of the punctuation. But we need to learn the punctuation to organize ideas, to know how to write a correct sentence structure. If I start the sentence with a transitional word, I must draw a comma after. Like here, I started the sentence with a transitional word, so I must draw a comma after. So, however, he got nothing. However, comma, he got nothing. If the transitional word comes between two independent clauses, we have two options. So, if you look carefully, he worked hard the whole year. It's an independent clause or simple sentence. He got nothing. Another independent clause. So if I put the transitional words in the middle, we have two options. We put full stop at the beginning before it, and then a comma after it. But if you put full stop before it, you should start, however, the transitional word with a capital letter. Or we can use, instead of the full stop, a semicolon. But if I use semicolon, we have to start the transitional word with a small letter and then comma. The semicolon had the same function of the full stop, but after the semicolon, there is no need to start the new sentence, the new clause, with a capital letter. But if you put full stop, the next sentence should start with a capital letter. Sometimes the transitional word cuts the independent clause and comes between the subject and its verb, predicate. So it must be surrounded by two commas. Like Ahmed passed the exam. I put, however, the transitional word between the subject and its predicate, its verb. So I must put two commas. The last part of conjunctions. This is a preposition or a conjunctions. In English, there are some words used as conjunctions or prepositions. These words are after, before, while, since, till, until, as. How can I differentiate this word is a preposition or a conjunction? It is a preposition if it's a part of a prepositional phrase, and as we have learned before, a prepositional phrase, it's a preposition plus an object, like after school. After is a preposition, school is the noun that works as the object of the preposition. So after school is a prepositional phrase, and after is a preposition. But if it's a conjunction, it is a conjunction if it is a joining word, to join words, phrases, clauses, or full sentences. It is followed by a subject and a predicate, like after I finished school. After I finished school. After here, I don't know is it a conjunction or a preposition, but if you read what comes after, you will find I is a subject, finish school, predicate. So if you find after the word a subject and predicate, so without thinking, this conjunction is this word is a conjunction, not a preposition. For example, for the first one, we decided to go to my grandma after school. So after school here, this is a prepositional phrase, because this is a preposition and this is the object of the preposition. So after works as a preposition, but we decided to go to my grandma after we had finished school. You will find after this word a subject and a predicate. So without thinking, if you find after the word a subject and predicate, so the word here works as a conjunction, it doesn't work as a preposition. Thank you, and wait me for next sessions. Goodbye.